The drama doesn't stop in Hope Valley. After a heartbreaking breakup at the end of the last episode of When Calls the Heart, the Season 10 finale delivers more unexpected twists that set things up for a very interesting Season 11. But first, there's that big election that could change the town's future, as well as Goldie's baptism, which gives one of the show's most enduring characters a chance to shine. When Starry Nights opens, it's been 3 weeks since Elizabeth, Aaron Krakow, and Lucas's Chris McNally train platform breakup. He's been away from town since then, campaigning hard to save Hope Valley and defeat the corrupt governor Bixby Balfour. But there are memories and campaign posters of him everywhere. By now, word of Lucas and Elizabeth's canceled engagement is out, and everyone is tiptoeing around Elizabeth, worrying that any mention of her former fiancé will cause her pain. But she insists to Rosemary, Pascale Hutton, that she's fine. Yes, election day happens to coincide with what would have been her wedding day, but she's focused on making sure Lucas is elected, not dwelling on what might have been. And she's at peace with her decision to end the relationship and also gazing meaningfully at the Mountie office. Naturally, Rosemary is taking the lead in the get out the vote effort on Lucas's behalf. She and Elizabeth are running the polls on election day, and turnout is high. But when Rosemary discovers 20 people haven't done their civic duty, she springs into action, tracking down the slackers and urging them to vote. That turns out to be a smart move. Once the election results come in, Lucas wins, but by a margin of just 21 votes. Lucas, who gets oddly little screen time in this episode, is now governor-elect. But despite his victory, more trouble may be on the horizon. When he steps out of his campaign office, someone confronts him. "What are you doing here?" Lucas asks. The person's identity isn't revealed, but we have a feeling they're up to no good. With Rosemary on election duty, it falls to Lee, Cobb and Smith, to organize their daughter Goldie's baptism. They've already selected Elizabeth as godmother, but the choice of godfather is less obvious until Lee makes a surprising suggestion. He thinks Henry Gowan, Martin Cummins, is the perfect choice. Rosemary's skeptical, but as Lee points out, his many troubles have made him wiser. Plus, we know kids, and Goldie in particular, bring out Henry's gentler side. Maybe he needs Goldie just as much as she needs him, Rosemary says. However, convincing Henry to be their daughter's godfather won't be easy. He spent so long beating himself up for his mistakes that the idea of helping raise someone else's child is hard to fathom. Plus, as he tells Lee, he doesn't know much about either God or being a father. It's only after a conversation with Elizabeth, where she reminds him of the power of forgiveness, that he decides to step up, though he's a few minutes late to the church for the big event. Once Hope Valley's biggest villain, Henry's seasons-long redemption arc, is reaching its end. So it's entirely appropriate that he finishes this episode by reaching out to one of the first people who saw him as more than just a bad guy. Abigail Stanton helped Henry see beauty again after years in the darkness, he tells Elizabeth. She says that Abigail would really appreciate who he is right now. Henry decides to go to her to find out, as we see him walking up to her house and greeting the unseen character when she answers the door. The When Calls the Heart Season 10 finale ends with another Elizabeth Nathan scene, which eagle-eyed viewers will notice takes place in the same spot where the Mountie declared his love for her in Season 8. She's sitting by herself on a log when Nathan rides up. "What are you doing here?" she asks. "I don't know," he replies. "What are you doing here?" All signs point to Elizabeth being on the verge of telling Nathan that she loves him. Could this episode end with a kiss? Alas, for viewers on Team Nathan, the answer is no. Before Elizabeth can say whatever is on her mind, Bill rides up. "It's Lucas," he says. "I need you both, now." We knew that Balfour had some powerful and unscrupulous people in his corner. And last week, Montague hinted that Lucas was taking a bigger risk than he realized by challenging the governor. Our guess is that it was Montague or one of his henchmen who confronted Lucas outside of the campaign office. Now, it seems Lucas might be in serious danger. In an unusual move for When Calls the Heart, the episode ends on a cliffhanger. Not only are we left hanging when it comes to Elizabeth and Nathan, but the situation with Lucas is not fully explained. When the show returns for Season 11, it will be interesting to see how Elizabeth reacts to her former fiancé possibly being in danger. Could it stir up some old feelings? And might it change her ideas about safe choices when it comes to love? That seems unlikely considering the vibes we're getting between Elizabeth and Nathan. But given some of the unexpected developments in Season 10, anything seems possible. What will happen in Season 11? Tell us in comments and keep watching Film Buff, baby.